Update 3 on Hurricane Odile, which is currently located in the eastern Pacific overland over the Baja California Peninsula and is likely to continue weakening over the next few hours into a tropical storm by this time tomorrow by the looks of things. Its wind speed is currently 90 miles per hour with a pressure of 966 millibars. Its position is 25.1 degrees north, 111.6 degrees west as of 8 PM UTC September 15th. Of course, the storm's been delivering very strong winds to the peninsula, Baja California Sur in particular, with strong winds, of course heavy rainfall as well. The storm's been traversing directly over the landmass, and that's likely to continue for the next 2 days or so before moving on towards the northeast as a tropical depression and then eventually dissipating over the mainland of Mexico near the US border. So looking at the current warnings, obviously there's too many to go through, but there they are all presented to you. Hurricane warnings in effect for Punta Abriojos to Santa Rosalia, and hurricane watch in effect also from Punta Abriojos to Punta Eugenia, with tropical storm watches and warnings in effect for other areas over an extensive area in Mexico, along the peninsula and on the mainland. Probably more of a rain threat on the mainland though. Sea surface temperatures are remaining warm, especially in between the peninsula and the mainland. Obviously that will become important as the storm moves over that area, and the sooner it does move towards the east, possibly the better it will be for the storm. Wind shear though is likely to be on the increase as it heads towards the north. Indeed, over the mainland and over the northern part of the Baja California Peninsula, wind shear is higher and increasing, and a lot of dry air is lingering out to sea as well, though that's not likely to affect the storm all that much, at least not as much as wind shear and land interaction is already. Looking at the intensity forecast, obviously it's going to weaken, but how fast is the real question. It may still be a hurricane in 24 hours time. That's what the GFDL model is predicting, but the DSHP has it as barely a tropical storm by then. This is the forecast track. You can see how the storm is likely to dissipate over northern Mexico, but the remnants are likely to move through Arizona and possibly into New Mexico and beyond. And wind shear is likely to gradually increase slowly and steadily, and by the end of day 4 or 5 it will be very high indeed. Looking at the sea surface temperatures, obviously that's likely to remain high, always going to be above 26 degrees unless it moves out towards the west, but that looks increasingly unlikely now. So sea surface temperature is going to remain high, but it is over land, so that might have not much effect. And relative humidity is slowly on the wane, but it's not likely to drop below 60% in the next 2 or 3 days. So looking at this GFS forecast model as well, over the next few days you can see perhaps on a more visual representation where the storm's going to go. Obviously models may be slightly inaccurate, may not pan out as it's forecasted, but the storm's expected to stay over the peninsula and then move inland on the 17th, which is this Wednesday, and then move inland over the mainland of Mexico and eventually the remnants into the United States. The latest satellite imagery, you can see the storm still quite clearly. You can see where the centre of it has been headed. The eye isn't really visible if there is indeed one left, but the centre of the storm is still quite traceable, and obviously lots of heavy rain towards its eastern side as well. The western side is obviously, as you saw earlier on the dry air imagery, quite dry air towards the western side of the storm, but to the east very moist, and indeed the western coast of the mainland will be seeing some heavy rain and possibly some storm conditions as well. But the main threat remains with the Baja California Peninsula, where we're seeing heavy rain and indeed winds that still could be gusting to category 2 hurricane force, and indeed sustained at 90 miles per hour. As of September 15th at 8 PM UTC, Edward is now the strongest storm in the world in the Atlantic, right now at least, with winds of 110 miles per hour. Invest 97E has a high chance of development in the eastern Pacific, could be another storm that follows in Odile's footsteps. And Typhoon Kaomegi is moving towards southern China. 56 tropical storms have formed so far in 2014 worldwide. 30 of those have become Category 1 hurricanes with 74 miles per hour winds sustained or their equivalents around the world, and 17 have become Category 3 storms with winds of 115 miles per hour plus. Just 2 of 2010. And you can visit Force 13 on any of its 6 outlets. The website, force13.com, will hopefully keep you regularly updated, though it may have been noted that it's been a little bit lacking of recent times due to other commitments, but I'll try and stay on top of that as best I can. The video pages will still keep you regularly updated in any case. Force 13 on YouTube and Dailymotion. Just search that, you'll find it. Same too for Facebook and Twitter, at Force 13 on Twitter if you'd like to get in touch. And you can speak to me personally on Skype at Full13 on there for tropical weather chat. Of course, on the website you can visit the forum and the control room, which will also have tools to keep you updated, I suppose. The control room, a more visual representation of what's going on in the North Atlantic and Eastern Pacific. That's all for now from this storm. If necessary, the next update will follow in 24 hours.